learned from him when I was a child. And even though I was a boss, I was the president of the company, CEO of the company, I never knew that I had the right to go with somebody else, even though I was not married back then. I had a girlfriend. And being here in the United States, I understand that people do different things.
It's the understatement of the evening.
And first case I saw in Oracle, this executive of Oracle back then, I think 10 years, was a big scandal about woman was harassed by men in Oracle. And,
I think you're right. I think I remember.
And I was amazed because I thought Silicon Valley is a safe place. And when I was there, many people said, "Oh no, we are women from Romania, and we went to Silicon Valley, and because we are beautiful, all the executives wants to have a dinner or late dinner." And said, "Okay, I am a graduate for MIT, and I don't need to compromise myself." So they were fired. Some of them were fired. Yeah.
Huh.
And after have big scandal and everyone knows about the executive pay for them, and being in Romania, I think country like Romania is more down and very clear that you need to sleep with somebody who do work, and you need to make a proposal to marry or to, I don't know, have affair with your secretary. And I was blessed that I learned when I was a child, when I started my first company in Romania at 18 years old, and I had in my life 18 companies. I managed 1,500 people. I had 4 exits. The last exit I had here in Miami.
Out of 1,500 people, you have 4 exits.
Yes.
Wow.
And since I came here 2 years ago in Miami, I sold 1 company and was in food distribution. I had healthy food. I lost 100 pounds. And now I'm involved in real estate. I do sell properties, and I'm very happy.
Excellent. Well, we'll talk about the healthy food later on.
Yes.
I need to talk to you about that.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Talking about me.
So I wanted to open it up to the people here. So we have very experienced people all over. I mean, I want you guys to take advantage. What questions do you have to them about this topic or any topic? And then we'll have some closing comments from you. So any of you want to have any questions?
How do you keep the balance between family and work? Because I was involved in the work, and what I was knowing was work. I didn't have time for family, and I was married late on this. And for me, it was number one to be successful and be number one. And I want to learn from you how you can keep in balance, because I went from 150 pounds to 350 pounds, and now I'm back to 180 pounds. And all of this is because really it's all about balance. Because when I went from this up and down, was I forgot about go to the gym. When I put in the gym, and I didn't have so good performance, how we can get in balance? Because we have 24 hours.
I think we all have different goals in life, through life, and I think that's the beauty of human. I think I myself, I chose to be in balance, and I'm not driven by money, I'm not driven by power. I love my life, and I understand that work is part of my life, family is just part of my life, my spiritual life is just one part of my body, take care of my body is just one part. But I got it that clear. But I don't, in my perspective, I'm sure you guys have different perspectives. I respect the goals of everybody and what are your drives. And sometimes I met a woman like 3 months ago. We were in a trade show. It was like 11 o'clock on Friday night in the closing event, and she was drunk. She was by herself. And she was talking with another girl, and she said to the girl, "You know what? I'm gonna be 40 next year, and I just decided that I want to have a baby, and I'm gonna have unprotected sex tonight." And we were like, "Oh my God, that's a shift in in what are your priority in life?" Of course she was drunk, but
But that means that the baby, the baby might be more possible.
but she was looking for a guy.
Wow.
She was looking for, she was targeting guys. But again, I don't know. I don't know. I think you may have every human has a different priority and different ages. And as you become more mature, some mature faster, some never mature. And I think there is a point in life when you say, this is enough. I want to have a balance. But some people may die just thinking that money is whatever it is the driver for their lives. And that's what they choose to experience. And that's it. And I don't judge anybody for that.
Well, and the other thing I think is it goes down and boils down to you as a person and your priorities in life. For me, I mean, today might be, for the next 2 to 3 years might be growing my company. Not really looking to either establish a family, having kids, none of that. Somebody my age will be having a completely different idea. So it comes down to you and your happiness and what really makes you happy as a human being. Is it being in the office 16 hours or just balancing? And then when you get to realize what exactly is it that you want in that type of balance that you want to achieve, then I think, and as a smart person and as a conscious person, you start making decisions to make that happen. I'm very disciplined with what I do, so I have my own ways to do it. If it's not in the calendar, it doesn't exist. It will not happen. So Outlook is one of my best friends, when it comes to be very disciplined. But again, it all comes down to whatever it is that you're looking to do. What is it that you're looking to fulfill as a human being, professional, family? For me, family is a big deal. And not necessarily like family, like, I'm not married or anything, but I have family all over the United States. I have my sister flying tomorrow from LA. That's a big deal for me. So I make time, and I got a huge, we're building 2 banks right now in the Caribbean. So imagine the amount of work that I'm doing. Still family, I'll make the time, my sister is coming, and that's a priority. So you'll find those, and you push yourself to make sure there's time for that.
It's a good idea that you said that when you make make you happy, and it's like a carrot you put in front of your carrot. I'm going to get the carrot. Once you get the carrot, I'm not happy.
Exactly.
The only thing that I learned from this period of my life, I said, if I'm not happy right now with what I have,
you're never going to be.
Doesn't matter if I get a carrot, how big will be the carrot, how beautiful will be the carrot. I'll not be happy. So I'm happy in the moment. And so
Because it's not always what you have. It's about the experiences that you get to have as a result of the work that you do.
More living in the moment.
So I have an issue with the word balance. I don't know if you noticed, I can barely sit in my seat as everybody's saying the word balance, because it just makes me very uncomfortable. Because work-life balance means that it's so rigid, and there's a circle and there's a pie, and it's got to be divided somehow. And I don't know that can happen in the way that it seems like we're in a room full of very structured, very successful people, right? And so I know for me in my own life, I thought that I could divide it and that it would work. And I shared with you, right? The laptop was open, and my husband would beg me to please put it away, but you don't understand, and I'm growing a business, and my client is calling me, and then how do I balance? Well, that's not about balance. It's about making choices and about determining what is the priority. And so I travel for my work, but I get to say when I travel. Other times, I don't. I host women's events. I get to look at the calendar and say, let me put the dates that work for me from my schedule, where my priorities are. And then there are other times that I might might miss out on things. But because I have those boundaries, because I'm clear on my priorities, and I don't separate work and life. I think all too often we have a set of goals for work and a set of goals for life, and they don't always blend. And that's the reason why we come into this conundrum of work-life balance. So it's more about work-life integration, work-life harmony, kind of like what you were saying, right? Like work is just one component of our overall life, but somehow we feel like there's two compartments, and in this chart, in this pie chart, half is work and half is life. That's crazy, because life is so much more, right? So what I would say is determine what success really means to you and define that, and really sit down and like reflect on that. Like take that step back and give yourself an hour or a few days for a few weeks or even a month to really define what success means to you. And then I think creating those boundaries, setting up the priorities, because you clearly have achieved it already, not only in the business success, but in your health, in the success, your health success. So I think that you can achieve it the same way that you approach those other two. I think you can approach this as well.
I think we can achieve anything we want as far as we know exactly where you go and what the target is.
Yeah.
And we have the discipline to work on our way to be there on time.
Or just finding a way to integrate it instead of trying to.
Yeah, it's not one circle, it's two circles that get combined.
Exactly.
Right, and then they have a little extremes on either side, right?
That's
and,
right.
But I think with balance, or whatever word we want to use, it comes with the negative effects of it, right? I mean, if you're gonna work, 80% of the time, then you're gonna have more success or monetary success than if you are focused on your work 30% of your time or 40%. That's obvious, okay? So you have to be able to manage it, right? I mean, I could probably be more successful if I didn't spend as much time with my family today. But I love.
But you are successful.
Right? No. But that's what I'm saying. I could be more. Let me use the word not successful. I could be more. I could make more money.
You could be
wealthier.
Right?
But I could be wealthier, financially wealthier by focusing more time on my job today. But I have decided over the last 2 or 3 years, me and my wife decided that, I love the age of my kids today. Yeah. I love the 13, 14, 15-year-old, frame of kids. This is when I'm actually relating to my kids. Mm-hmm. I couldn't relate to them when I was changing diapers, but I could relate to them now. And I didn't change my diapers, right? But I could relate, so we decided to make a conscious effort. So I'm doing business calls, and last week I remember this, and it was the first time that I really reacted, and I was like, wow, that was really cool. I had a 2-hour conference call while I'm out on the boat in the middle of the Keys and my kid's fishing, right? And it was great. And I had to tell my kid, hey, you gotta let me, but it was fine. And today technology allows you to do that, and I was able to do that, and that is the balancing. Now, that said, I could have a bigger boat. I probably wouldn't be able to use it if I would focus more on my kids.
By the way, thank you for inviting me next time.
Anytime.
Thank you, bro. Any other questions? Because we're running out of time here.
I do have to say that I feel like the current 9-to-5 structure is completely debilitating for having any kind of priorities or value or anything else you value in life.
Amen.
The what?
The 9
9 to 5.
The 9 to 5 is overrated.
There is no 9-to-5
There's
structure.
no 9 to 5.
When I first started in my corporation, and I thought that it was going to be the coolest thing, and I graduated from FIU with an accounting degree, I would come in at 7 o'clock in the morning, and I swear I didn't leave till like 8 o'clock at night, right? And that was the case for about almost 10 years.
So what do you think you can do about it? I'm curious.
It's funny that you mentioned about the technology part, because it is true. Like I, as a young professional, I don't mind working 10, 12 hours, whatever. I mean, I can. I know that what I'm doing right now is I'm building the foundation for my future, and if I work hard now, maybe I don't have to work so hard So, and I'm willing to put in the work, and that's fine. But there is moments where you're just like, damn, I'd rather come in at 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. and work until noon and have 3 or 4 hours off and keep working.
You're millennial, aren't you?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So millennials are not driven by money, you're driven by flexibility.
Yeah, and experiences. I mean, honestly, I want to experience. I want to be like, oh, cool. There's this really cool event going on. I'm not working because I want to buy nice shoes. I'm working because I'm building my life.
That's right. So what do you think you can do about it in your workplace?
I really don't know. It's a good question.
I really think you have to be able to produce whatever work you do at the same pace than if you were in the office 9 to 5. I'd imagine that, right?
And
You
here's
still
the-
have to produce.
Here's the thing, I've been in situations where it takes me an hour to do what it takes somebody else 3 hours.
Yeah.
So why am I being penalized because I'm working smarter?
Exactly.
That guy's taking 3 hours, or that girl's taking 3 hours, it's taking me 1 hour. Right? I know that when I had flexible time, I was coming in to the office at 7:30 and leaving at 4:30, I was so much more productive. So I get you. So I'm curious, what can you do about it? Do you have an HR department?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can work as a HR.
Okay, right, so, okay. So what do you think you can do about it?
I mean, honestly, I feel like a lot of the times, in like a young professional, we're kind of in the position like we have to pay our dues.
Yeah.
We're not in a negotiating position.
Well, I'm not asking to negotiate. I think it could be really powerful if you're ready to negotiate. So what do you think you'd have to do in order to be ready to negotiate?
Well, would have to sit with my manager, HR,
But-
figure out like a whole bunch of other things.
Was
I
she-
mean, it's doable, but it's also a little frowned upon when you're talking. Like, why does this like newbie come in and get all this flexibility?
Well, so that.
Because we didn't get it.
So let me. She just touched upon something that is my biggest thing that I get upset about, which is that you let your work manage your career.
Which is why I think
Or
you're
your life,
in a
even worse.
perfect
Or my life.
position. And I think all we need to do is arm you with some resources and some tactics to be able to go in and have a healthy conversation. Because I think what also is not good is that we say this thing about paying your dues. What the hell is that?
Then they fire the person who you were
You're learning
trying to
your
pay
butt
your
off.
dues for. They get fired, and then you're like, oh my God, I spent 5 years trying to pay my dues,
You're not
and now the
coming
guy,
in for $10,000
I deserve that job. I deserve that job.
Without any substance or without any merit. What you're asking for is flexibility. And I think that there's an opportunity with a little bit of research and some tactics and some coaching. I think that is a valid request. Whether it happens every day, maybe not. Maybe it's a Friday thing. Maybe it's put on a test for 30 days.
Oh, that's the best word ever.
Right,
Pilot.
can I start a pilot? I don't think that there's,
And then we can evaluate it.
I don't think that you should brush it off. I think you're onto something.
I think I had the experience with a lady that works for me. One day she came and said, you know, I don't want to continue, I want to continue working with you, but I don't want to continue having a schedule that I have to come every day. And I want to have flexibility. And I don't want to, I want to work as much as I want. And I was looking at it, and I don't want to come to the office. And I said, but you live like a mile from the office. And so I asked her, what do you want to do? And she said, well, I want to work from home. But I say, but I don't understand. You want to be an employee or you don't want to be an employee? You want to be free or you want to be, I don't know, I don't understand. And she said, no, I want to continue working with you, but I don't want to be an employee. And I want to work until whatever, let's assume June 30th. And June 30th came, and I didn't put much of attention to what she said, and I didn't trust her. And she came to my office and said, okay, this is the last day of work, what are you gonna do? And I look at her and I say, I just totally changed, you know, say, okay, I'm gonna follow you, I'm gonna trust you. I'm gonna increase the commissions, I'm gonna cut totally the payroll, you're not gonna be in payroll. And you're gonna continue receiving the email, the corporate email, gonna pay your cell phone, and I'm gonna pay your trips, and you're gonna be commission based. And that was like, I guess like 7 or 8 years ago, and she is still working with me, and we got in an agreement where she works from home, and I that came back to when I start. I think this is the best time to be a woman working. Now she has a baby. Of course, she was looking for a baby. She has a baby. She works whenever she wants. She works from home. I
She
have
works
the
whenever the
computer.
baby's not crying.
She has the telephone, you know, the internet telephone. So it's, I guess, again, I invite you guys to see the advantages that technology is bringing and the society is bringing. You asked me about the karma that we start when we start our careers, when males sleep with, you know, with the secretaries. I think that's coming part of the past. And I think women has become conscious that that's not exactly what we need to do, you know. And I think women also understand that they have more power, and they can come and what you did and face and ask for what you want and follow your heart. And I encourage you, as you say, to follow your heart and ask for what you want. And that's what millennials are doing. And that's what the next generation is continue doing. And I love that. And I encourage that. And don't be afraid.
Right? You're not going to go in just with this request. You're going to do the research. You're going to come in and you're going to say, this is what research shows, and I would love, is there a program that exists already in Bank of America that offers some sort of flexibility? Maybe the program already exists, and you haven't asked.
Yeah, I can work from home technically whenever I want, but
Okay.
technically.
All right.
You know-
Then have a conversation about the clarity on that, right? Right.
But that's a way of doing it, the way that you did it with your employee, which you gave her the option, right? She took it, right? But she asked, and you gave her the option. She took it. It's all about negotiating.
And maybe
Right.
Bank of America is not the right place for you. Maybe you have to open your own company, as you say.
I think
Or maybe you
that's
can,
the-
but
Maybe-
that's the drive. That's where you can
Or
go.
maybe you can create this for Bank of America, and then you
Yeah.
can really be a trailblazer. Right? You can pilot something really powerful for the next generation. I mean, if that's what drives you, right? It really, we can give you 1,000 different ideas, but I
Yeah.
think having the conversation and working up the courage to make that happen for yourself is extremely important.
So we have a few minutes to stay.
I actually had sort of that same situation where I wanted to be in pajamas some days of the week and didn't want to drive for an hour to the office. I actually did the research, and the company I was working for has a program in other states, but now brought it into Florida.
Yeah.
I suggested it in a meeting, like somebody that doesn't want anything, hey, why don't we have this in Florida? And they said no, they said no, they said no. I got together with my coworkers and we're like, why not? We're not asking for every day, but like today on a rainy day, I would have hated to have, we were in Doral. I would have hated to have to drive an hour in for traffic in the rain. So it took me about probably 8-9 months, but I ended up getting a day. Let's try this. We're all starting with a day. This is like 5-6 years ago. Now it's like 3 days a week. Everybody has flexible schedule. Like it just changes, and it changes the mentality that I think, at least I think, I can get much more work done in my bed in my pajamas than in an office in a desk. Just because I get to sleep in a little bit later, I can take a nap during my lunch break. I like
Do your hair.
yeah.
So bosses, so you're looking at it from your perspective, right? As an employee, bosses need to learn how to deal with people like you. And the way they do it is, they give you tasks, and they need to be done by a certain time, by a certain date. You don't do them, then you figure it out. So some people work at night, and work midnight to 5 o'clock in the morning. And as long as the job is done, why not? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's a matter of like perspective and approach when it comes to the employee's side. Because if you're saying, "Who am I to do this?" like you're stopping yourself, right? I think that you should give yourself more value. And if the company doesn't give you value, then it's time for you to move to another company, right? And I think it's a matter of trust when it comes to the executives. Because, for example, I have supervisors, I have I have a boss, and he wants me to be there every single day at 7 in the morning. And he wants me 7 to 5, 7 to 5, 7 to 5. And sometimes you stop and think, okay, what is the purpose of this, 7 to 5? If I can deliver, and if, I can give you the same results, you need to trust me. And I think it's a matter of micromanaging versus leading by example as well. Because people like micromanaging, and they don't realize that when I walk around the office, I see many people, minimizing the browsers because, the boss is walking around, right? Because, it's all this thing and this thing and this thing of productivity is not looking at anything else than, the work that you have to do 24/7 or, every single minute. So I don't know, probably my perspective.
Yeah.
But
So bosses need to change as well. Institutions, bosses, and employees need to ask and push the boundary.
yeah, I mean, like the pilot, right? Like you have this many days, and you give someone like this many days to deliver on a project, and they can work from home. They can do whatever they want. But if they deliver, and maybe there is more productivity there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not an executive. I don't have experience with that, but
I think it's great perspective.
thank you.
So let's. I wanted to finalize with a few comments. Any advice you want to give them? So the topic, and one of the things that brought to this also to my attention. So Beatrice as well brought it to my attention. But in the news, right? You see women in Hollywood fighting to get paid equally, right? And the other day I was so happy to hear that Katy Perry is getting paid $25 million to run American Idol, which I'm a fan of American Idol, but the highest paid judge ever. I'm going, damn good that she's getting paid. She's really good. She's much better than the other guys that they had. I want to start with Beatrice because I know this is something that we have talked about. What advice do you want to give, these women, and how can they change the world?
Wow, is that a loaded
Yeah.
question or what?
You got 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
I know, right?
That's right. Well, you want me out of here in 5 minutes.
No, I think you mentioned it at the very beginning, Lily, about being very particular in what it is that you want and communicating that with efficiency and clarity, and not. I spent so much of my career just assuming I work really hard and I'm going to get recognized for what I do, and the reality is no, because somebody else is up at the table saying, I want this, and I would like it like this, and I want it painted blue with flowers on it, and maybe they didn't get all that they wanted, but they certainly moved ahead in the game. So I think communicating with purpose, I think knowing what you want. Sometimes there's so much of this, God, until I figure out what it is I want, I won't ask for it. And I mean, this experience of pursuing an MBA, I was like, oh, should I really get it? I don't know. Do I really need it? I mean, and it's so much more about, sometimes it's about experiencing that I think I need to go in this direction, and therefore you start to experience those things and decide I'm going to make a right or I'm going to make a left. You go through that cycle of pursuing and experiencing to create purpose and clarity around what you want, and communicate that with clarity and purpose with the people. And of course it comes with merit, right? If you were to walk into that office tomorrow and say, I'm going to work flexible hours, I hope that's okay with you, but yet you're an underperformer, that's just a recipe
Right,
for disaster,
exactly.
right? That's,
Right.
I mean,
You're not in a position of power to negotiate.
Right, and I think when you mentioned I'm paying my dues, I think paying your dues isn't something that happens in a period of time, like, oh, I have to be there for 3 to 5 years in order to merit something. I think you have to consistently overperform, and not just perform, right? But overperform, whatever it is. If you're being asked to make a brownie, and I don't know why I went there because I'm craving brownies. Make the best damn brownie that you have ever. Research it, look for it,
And then put fudge on top.
Yeah.
Always works.
Peanut butter.
And nuts. But constantly overperform so that when you have those conversations and request those things, it doesn't come from, she doesn't even get her job done, and now she wants this guy. I think that's
Mhm.
I think that's the underlying meaning of paying your dues is to showcase merit. God, he said,
So-
it's
so-
such a loaded question.
It is. Can we have the 50% of women in the boardroom, 50% of women in executive positions? Can we?
I think we can.
Do you believe this?
I would like to believe it.
Well,
I would like to believe it, and I think it's not. This is where the conversation changes. Is that it's not just about women doing what women need to do, like being more assertive, looking for what we want, convincing other people that that's the right journey. But it's also about taking great examples of these gentlemen here and making sure that they're along for the ride, right? So get that not everyone is going to think the same way that these fine gentlemen do, but tag along, sit with these folks, and understand their journey. And if you're looking for a mentor, these are the kinds of guys that you want to associate yourself with, because I think that certainly in my generation there weren't. Although by default my mentors, most of them have been men. Now that dynamic is changing significantly, but associate yourself with people who believe that in you as a person, regardless, your religion, your skin, color of your skin, your race, etc. And they will no doubt take you under their wing and move you, challenge you, put things in front of you that maybe you didn't even know you wanted to do, you could do, and they saw something.
thank you.
If we do have 50% of women in the board, I feel like instead of bars, we're having negotiations at brunch. So
I like that. Yeah.
it happens.
So, and I'm glad you bring this up, because I do believe we can make it happen. It's just
I think
some
we can,
more we have
but
to
let's
have.
hire them for the right reason.
Yeah.
Let's not hire them to fill a quota
Right.
of 50%
Exactly.
women. Don't hire me because I'm a woman. Don't hire me because I'm Hispanic. Hire me because I am the badass that is going to contribute to the success of your organization. I think that is what's key. And I think what's going to change that is not only shifting the paradigm, but also realizing the power of negotiation and redefining, the same way that I've talked a lot about redefining success and redefining balance, it's also about redefining negotiation. Negotiation doesn't mean one person loses and one person wins. In my opinion, in a negotiation, both sides win. And so if we can find a way to negotiate, and women negotiate and ask for what they want, claiming their value, claiming their worth, contributing to the greater good, we will have the board positions. Who cares what the percentages are? We just want to have our own right for the people that are the badasses that are going to contribute to the organization.
Yeah, you should look as managers as well. We should look at positions as gender agnostic. It's just
Absolutely.
The person needs to. We have these things that need to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
Throw it out there, and the best qualified. And again, don't take it for granted that women, you have a family, but you want to be successful, and you want to determine what balance, and maybe you have a man that'll pick up the slack for something else, and I know your husband does all the time. Your husbands do all the time. Sir, any final comments about what we discussed? I mean, you're. By the way, and I want to caveat this. This man is an inspiration to me. Is one of my best friends. Very spiritual.
You too.
And we've had many dialogues. This is a mentor to me and a friend. So.
Same. It's mutual. I think first there is roles between men and women, and I honor those roles. And when I started mentioning about my wife had to put her career on the side, and it was very painful for her. But I honor her because she is helping our kids, and like it or not, the women are the one who had the kids, for 9 months, and the one who so I don't know. I would like to. You don't need to answer me the question, but if you, for example, want to have kids, and I had this conversation with my wife, you may decide that you're gonna have a sabbatical, and that's fantastic. And maybe you are not gonna be in the board of directors of Bank of America because you make that decision. So I don't want to compete. It has to be 50-50, whatever. The only that I think is that you are happy, and you do whatever you want, and you honor yourself, and you empower yourself. You do what Luli said. What is the problem with you? I'm here. I'm representing Red Cross, and so you have to be, do your best. Be impeccable with your what you say with words, and don't judge. I think judging is. And don't take things personal. I think
For agreements.
And I love it because it helps a lot, especially taking it personal. And I think for minorities tend to get things personal. It's because I'm a woman, or because I'm Hispanic or black or whatever. And that doesn't help. Doesn't empower anybody, from my point of view.
Excellent. Well, again, I couldn't say more thank yous than, I thank you before, I thank you now. Most importantly, I admire all of you. You're my friends. That's why you're here. And I love that you're sharing this, whatever crazy thing this program is to help young professionals succeed. And this is a journey. We're starting. I mean, it started 3 years ago, but I think we're starting. We're making a difference in people's lives, not only here in Miami, but around the world. And the most important thing is that, I share it with my friends. So these are my best friends, right? Which are also mentors. We did business together, and then we had such a great experience in life as friends that now we're helping other people and we're enhancing that experience. So, and you guys are becoming friends as well as you come to these things. So I just, so he had mentioned, what's your name? Robert had mentioned you came to network. And networking for me is about learning about other people and becoming, putting yourself out there and becoming a friend and helping. You come to a networking event typically to receive. You should go to a networking event to give. I want to help you out. I want to help you out. I want to help you out. Yeah, and eventually, you give of your time, you give of your love, your attention, and your presence. You support. No, people will remember you for different things. Trust me. Yeah, when you impress an executive, you do it, because you're sharp, professional. But if you come with a resume, to a networking event with your resume under, people are looking at you like.
You'll be remembered.
You'll be remembered
For the wrong thing. Get to know them. It's my advice to everybody.
The business card was disrespectful.
Yeah.
So I think we're done. We have to leave. We'll take one final picture, but again, thank you, and I turn it around. Bye. We had so many people coming in and out, but bye.